Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendik's Weather Channel, and boy do we have a good video for you today. Today we're going to be looking at the strat data. The potential for a sudden stratospheric warming is there now. Ooh, hear lots of oohs in the comments. So we're looking at the strat data today, as there's a lot of interest surrounding the potential for a major sudden stratospheric warming. If you don't know what I mean by that, I'll explain it very quickly. A sudden stratospheric warming is where we get a warming, usually towards Siberia, the Nordic regions, or over the North Pole, way up above our atmosphere, and this pushes into the big blues you can see on our chart here, known as the polar vortex. As they move in towards the polar vortex, they put pressure on it and it stretches to its limit point, to its like breaking point. And if it puts enough pressure on, if the warming gathers enough pace and reverses the zonal winds, which is called reversing or sudden stratospheric warming levels, then we see a split. And this can have implications such as blocking features, some more likelihood of colder weather. So usually if you want cold weather, you'd want it during the winter. As we're seeing it in spring, the implications are slightly varied. So we'll run through things, hopefully that's a good description for you all. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more if you find this video informative and useful as always. So let's get on with the charts. So we've brought up the GFS midnight run, and I've got the 6 on as well, I'll show you in a minute. So as you can see, kind of emphasise like what I was saying, you can see that at the moment this big blue, which you could say is low pressure and this is high pressure, the big reds and the big blues in layman's terms, but what I would describe it as, this is the polar vortex at its roots here, and as you can see there is a very significant warming gathering pace over Siberia, and as you can see this is pushing towards the polar vortex, and as you can tell by this point, by the 7th of March, when I'm looking at this about 10 days away, it is being stretched, which is where it's expanding to its breaking point. Now as you can see, this warming does dissipate slightly or reduces as warmings do. However, it continues to put significant pressure on the polar vortex to a point where, as you can see, eventually it splits. So we've got one lobe going over into Europe and one lobe going towards Canada. And that is what you call a split and reversal of zonal winds, or a sudden stratospheric warming. Now, what implications could this have? Some people ask me, send it, what's a sudden stratospheric warming? Basically, all it means is that it increases the chances of blocking, bringing down cold northerly northeasterly winds. However, the likelihood is that the further you go into spring, which is when it will impact, 14th of March, it would impact around the end of the month, so about the 28th, 29th of March, you'd expect. This would mean that we'd probably see cooler weather, not likely cold, but you can never rule it out, because spring can throw up some right surprises. But from what we see here, it will be cooler, it probably will be quite unsettled, quite horrible conditions, but there is the chance of it being colder as well if there's a cold pull to our north or east. Remember, as we go through the winter into the spring, the amount of cold air is dissipating, is reducing, the polar vortex is powering down, so we see less low pressure systems, but we still see quite a lot because of where we are, our position. Next to the Atlantic, we're always bringing in low pressure systems, but it does imply that it's quite a low risk of colder weather. You can't rule it out, as always, because it's the UK. Throws up all sorts of fun and games in terms of weather, but it probably would be quite cool, quite wet, quite stormy, quite cyclonic, because you'll see blocking patterns, bringing down those northerly winds, dropping them lows southwards, and probably see lots of rain, as we always do here, don't we? Right then, so here is the GFS 6 then, so the latest run. As you can see, it has that warming around the 7th of March. It does have that warming over Siberia and towards the North Pole. And as you can see, it is stretching the polar vortex once again. Now, with this, that warming is slightly stronger. However, the polar vortex is much more banded together. It's not as muddled as it was on the midnight run. We do eventually see a split, a reversal, because you see there's a lobe there going into Canada again, and a lobe going into Eastern Europe, but the polar vortex itself is much stronger, meaning the impacts would most likely be weakened and not as strong as if we got the midnight run come off. Now, as you can see from a lot of the models, when we've been looking at the model runs in the videos, when we've been looking at the model runs in the videos, hasn't really suggested much cold weather. But obviously these sort of things are hard to forecast and, they're always unpredictable. So stay tuned to my videos and I'll keep you all updated on everything. Remember, the impacts from this would most likely be towards the end of March into the start of April, just when we don't bloody want it and we want summer to start. Anyway, so as you can see right there, from the GFS ensembles, the SSW probability is 68%, and we can have a look at the runs here. So this here, which is all of the runs of the GFS, there's 33 of them, and this is every single run. So these are the green lines here. And as you can see, anything below this run here, the 0 degree line, is a technical sudden stratospheric warming. And as you can see, a lot of the runs are reversing. However, about a third of the runs, as that's suggested, are keeping positive above mean zonal winds. Can't not to say that. Don't know how to say that. Come on. But yeah, they're keeping them positive with the zonal winds. So they're keeping them in a typical pattern. But some of them are reversing the zonal winds at 10 HPA way in our atmosphere. So this suggests that there is still some uncertainty, but there are things where it's coming on board. Yesterday the percentage was at 38%, so now an increase to 68% is pretty substantial by about a third, isn't it? So it's something to monitor. Hope you all enjoyed today's video though. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I really do appreciate all of your continued support, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye everyone.